Yeah.
Perfect.
Lovely.
Is that lovely?
Pretty sexy. Baby, don't leave
No,
me.
I won't.
What's good? This is your boy Tico Tren, aka Eternal Sadist, and this is going to be another Slippery Slope episode of Slippery Slope. So kick back and enjoy this episode of Slippery Slope. This Slippery Slope is going to be about, basically, you see the title, self-sabotage, basically. Now, I'm going to get into the whole entire topic of self-sabotage when it comes to women and men both at the same time. Because men have a habit of self-sabotaging themselves too by making stupid decisions, thinking that they made the right decision, especially when it comes to women. This is typically when you realize that you fucked up as a man, and you start rethinking all the shit that you've actually done, did, all the decisions you actually made, things along the lines like that, for all intents and purposes. When you start doing that, this is not a midlife crisis. I mean, you can go to a midlife crisis if you do too much, basically, and you do end up in a mess. But typically, this is basically you thinking about all the decisions that you made, because one of a most recent decision you made got you rethinking about all the decisions you've actually made in your life, all the ones that you think are the right decisions at the end of the day. That's typically how that works. It's sad, but it's true. The irony to it is when you get into that mess, you basically want to have a clear path out. You always want to have a backup plan to your actual plan, or not really a backup plan to your actual plan as much as you want to basically have a plan B and a plan C, basically, for when shit goes south. I always say that if you're a man, you should always have at least two backup plans behind your actual plan at the end of the day when it comes to dating or women and stuff like that. And if you're dating somebody, you should have a backup plan to that person, sadly, because in this day and age, not everybody gets the chance to actually be with somebody that's right for them, or be with somebody, or they can't really say they made the right decision on the person that they actually made. Even the ones who think they got the best of the best of the best of the best, or in the black community referred to as that baddie, they haven't really made the best decisions in their lives at the end of the day, because typically a baddie's what ends up getting you hemmed up or hooked up in the black community, or or as we call it, baby mamas in the black community. That's what baddies are basically in the black community, baby mamas. The sad part about that is when you get hooked up with one, you don't ever want to be linked to one for a very long period of time if that's not what you want in life. If that's what you just want for a short period of time, just bust a nut, make sure you have an exit plan out of that whole entire thing. Never get stuck in that shit. Always think with your big head. Don't think with your dick, basically, because your dick will get you fucked up, and it'll get you basically hemmed up to the point where you're probably going to be laid up with a woman that you don't want to be stuck with for the rest of your life because you had a baby with her. This is typically how men self-sabotage themselves, because they don't really think beyond sticking their dick in something, basically. And when they get the wrong woman, they basically lock you down with the baby, ironically. Now, this is if the baby's actually yours. This is not her sleeping around and, her trying to pass the baby off on being yours. This is actually, you actually know, and the baby is actually yours, basically, type shit. And the sad part about that, even if you don't want the baby, at the end of the day, in this day and age, she has every right to make you have the baby, and then still make you pay for the damn baby, sadly. It's the nature of the beast. But at the end of the day, what you don't want is you don't want to end up, shooting yourself many, many years down the line, ironically. As a man, with the whole entire child support court thing and a whole 9 yards, sadly. So you basically want to be able to prevent that by either A, wearing condoms and taking them with you, and not just tossing them anywhere like a dumbass, because they're not gone are the days where you could just toss a condom anywhere and just keep it moving. You gotta take them bitches with you now, because that's what women are doing, sadly. It's sad and true. But that's one of the many reasons. That's one of the few ways that men always self-sabotage themselves, or they get into a relationship with somebody that's only good for sex, and they try to make them their forever woman, basically. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, we all know that should be your temporary woman, or it should be a temporary ship, or a situationship, basically. It should never be an actual relationship. When you turn around and make something like that your permanent woman, you typically end up regretting that at the end, sadly. It's kind of like the old adage, never turn a hoe into a housewife. The minute you do that, that's the minute you're going to screw yourself, sadly. And when you screw yourself, it's really going to hurt you very badly. And it's going to come back to bite you in the end, sadly. That's another way how men do that. And it's sad, but because we just make stupid decisions sometimes, because we just want to bust a nut sometimes. And sadly, we end up stuck and held up with a person that we don't really want to be tied to for a long period of time. We only want to be tied to that woman for a short period of time, not a long period of time, sadly. But at the end of the day, when you get stuck with that, you got to be able to overcome that and come out of that, sadly, and make sure you cross all your I's and dot your I's and cross all your T's at the end of the day when you get put in a situation like that. Hell, I know some of us make jokes about putting on two rubbers. Hell, sometimes that's the thing. Sometimes you got to put on two, sadly. And it's sad these days when you got to do that just to make sure you don't bust a nut in somebody that want to keep you around for financial purposes because you got a lot going on in your life and all the other people don't got nothing going on in their life and they just want to be lazy and live off you, sadly. But let's talk about female self-sabotage. We all know female self-sabotage. We see it on a daily basis. Where have all the good men gone? Basically. Or my other favorite, man desert. Eligible bachelor man desert, basically. Or eligible bachelor, or there's no eligible bachelors, or all this other stuff. The sad part about it is at the end of the day, women bought this on themselves. Now, I really don't care what a lot of the other creators say about this, because there's a couple creators that'll say in a heartbeat that, I ain't got no problem with women doing this, but the sad part about it is, at the end of the day, women create these problems for themselves. It's not, you shouldn't have to raise to somebody's level to want to date somebody at the end of the day, sadly. I mean, if that's what you want to do you. But the sad part about that is you're doing it for the wrong reasons. You're going to rise to somebody else's level just so you can date somebody at the end of the day. That's like working out just so you can get a woman. You should never do that. Never ever do that. That's a bad mistake on your part, because the sad part about that, when it comes to working out, you should be working out for yourself. Not everybody else, not for some woman, for yourself. I have this quote that I always say on this channel, and Yam knows it, and Win knows it, and it basically goes, I work out like God himself is coming through that day. Fuck my mom, fuck my girl, fuck everybody. And that's literally my quote. And the neat thing about that quote is, it's not just one person or two people, it's literally fuck everybody. You're working out like God himself is coming through that day. As if you believe in God, whatever you believe in, let it be Allah, let it be God, let it be Ishnu, Inu, Shiva, whatever you believe in, basically. I don't knock religion. Just do you and do you to the best of you, sadly, at the end of the day. But the problem that I have is with a lot of people is they try to do stuff for the attention of a woman. And when you should be doing the shit for yourself. That's self-sabotage within itself. But the sad part about that is at the end of the day, I don't subscribe to a lot of the creators, the content creators say, when if you want a woman that makes this much money, you need to raise your level and make that much money. I don't subscribe to that shit. Because at the end of the damn day, I believe in Darwinism. And with Darwinism, if a woman is out here acting stupid, eventually those women are going to die off at the end of the day. And a lot of them won't be able to have children, or if they do have children, their children will probably be null and void, or depending on what type of child they have, whether it be a girl or a boy, they'll basically be the last of their seeds, basically. when it comes down to it. It's sad, but it's true. Because at the end of the damn day, why would I want to be with somebody who got the shorthand in life at the end of the day? Why would I want to date somebody why would I want to raise somebody up that doesn't deserve to be rose up basically to the ranks? Or why would I want to raise somebody up that acts completely like a dumbass or a dick, just a dumb son of a bitch, basically, if you know what I mean? When it comes down to it, I don't want to raise up somebody. I want that motherfucker to basically be able to rise to the occasion at the end of the day when it comes to women. And when I say women, I don't mean like money and job wise. I mean like I want her to be able to rise to the occasion of actually being an actual woman and actually being actual feminine and actually being able to handle and actually do life skills and actually have life skills at the end of the day. If she can't do that, then there's no point in having her around. She can't cook, you might as well kick her to the curb, because at the end of the damn day, you should view all women as if you're getting married and you're going to have your children, and who's going to feed your children. Even if she's old, I don't give a damn if she can't have children anymore. If you're going to marry a woman, period, you have to view her like you're going to have children with her, even though you're not. And she has to have some life skills to actually help those children actually survive if you're not home, sadly. Because if she can't do that, then there's no point in you being married to that person. There's no point in having that person around. I don't care how good she looks. If she don't have any life skills, she's useless to you at the end of the day. And that's self-sabotage within itself. You can't date a useless piece of shit and try to turn it into something great. If it's a useless piece of shit, it's going to remain a useless piece of shit. I mean, can you learn things? Yeah, you can learn things, but the sad part about that is trying to get a useless piece of shit to learn some new skills would be like trying to get a crackhead to quit while locking him in a room full of crack. You see what I'm saying? So never take on a useless piece of shit as your significant other at the end of the day, if you're a man, because you're just self-sabotaging yourself at the end of the day when it comes down to it. Anytime you got to actually teach somebody some shit or teach somebody some extra shit or be all extra and shit like that on the teaching part, you're basically self-sabotaging yourself because you're taking valuable time that you can use for other things in your life to teach somebody to do some shit or to train somebody to do some shit. The sad part about that, I said this in many videos. I don't got time to train somebody else's child to be an adult when their parents failed them. I don't feel like training somebody to be a grown-ass adult because their parents failed them at the end of the day. I'm not raising their child. They can raise their own damn child. If they can't raise their damn child, they don't need to be around me at the end of the day. That's pretty much how I feel about that any time of day, anytime, anywhere, basically. I am not training somebody else's child. Their child is their child, so I'm going to need their child to get from around me, basically, at the end of the day. Because it's not my job to teach and train somebody else's child how to be a grown-ass adult. If they lost that skill, that's their parents' fault, and they need not to be around you. Now, I know there's a lot of men that like childish women, but at the end of the damn day, childish women will sabotage you. Childish women would be your downfall. Childish women will act so stupid that they'll act like children in public and get you kicked out of places or get you into fights for no damn reason, for dumb shit, basically, that you don't even need to be a part of at the end of the day. Why the hell would you want to self-sabotage yourself with somebody who's an incomplete product because their parents are too much morons to actually raise them into a complete product? So if you're a man at the end of the damn day, I don't give a damn how old the bitch is. If you're marrying her, I want you to envision yourself marrying somebody that can still have children and think of her like that. Can she cook? Can she clean? Can she take care of some children? Imaginary children in your mind. If she has no social skills, no life skills like cooking or anything like that, she doesn't need to be a wife. She doesn't need to be a wife at all. Because the sad part about that, those are skills that she could have been learning all her damn life. Those are skills, all she got to do is flip to the fucking Food Network or watch a Rachel Ray or watch any of these damn things or go on YouTube and she can learn how to make anything and everything on YouTube from YouTube, sadly, or off some of these shows, or look it up on Google and get a fucking recipe. The sad part about that is if none of these women can do that shit, then she's not worth your time and not worth your efforts at the end of the day. That's basically like training the chick to be, it's like training the chick or dominating the chick to be telling her she can't do this, she can't do that. That's just too much work that I'm not willing to put into a woman that should have already had these fucking skills in the first damn place. It is what it is. I ain't got time for that shit. She ain't got no life skills. She don't know how to be loyal. She don't know how to actually be with one person and one person only. She don't need to be in my fucking corner. I shouldn't have to tell her what to do and how to be an adult and how to be faithful and how to do this shit and why it's stupid to go out and do all this extra shit with girls' night and shit. I shouldn't have to tell her that shit. That's something that should become preset within herself. Because 9 times out of 10, if she wasn't told that shit, 9 times out of 10, her mom was a hoe. Her mom was for the streets at the end of the damn day when it comes down to it. And I ain't got time for somebody who was raised by somebody's mom that was for the streets. A lot of these women nowadays, their parents are for the fucking streets. And you expect a wife of somebody whose parents is for the street. Why? Because he's easy? Why? Because the pussy's good? Like, nah, that's not a reason to wife up some damn body and get all hemmed up and self-sabotage your damn self. Especially if you got a lot of shit going on in your life, you got a lot of growth, and you want to pick up somebody that wants to that's going to sabotage you at the end of the day, essentially. That's pointless. That's stupid. Don't get with somebody who got no life skills. Don't get with nobody that'll sabotage you. Don't get with nobody because they look good or you wonder what the pussy feel like or any of that shit. Or you heard that, she got that wet or she got that head or any of that shit, basically. If you heard all that shit, you know damn well that shit ain't for you. If you're just looking at her ass because she's walking away and you wonder what it'd be like, smack that, lay next to that, grab that, put your dick in, whatever the hell, you're fucked up, basically, when it comes down to choosing people. It is what it is. Because at the end of the damn day, if your first thought is that ass or ass and tits or anything like that, or you're wondering what it'd be like to put your dick up in it, that is not a long-term person for you. That is something that you should be just smashing to get some experience and getting the fuck up out of there. Because at the end of the day, that was an urge that clicked in your damn mind. If you can't think past her ass and tits or think past the pussy or think past the any looking her ass or her body parts or anything like that, that is a temporary thing for you. That is not a long-term goal to turn into your baby mama or a marriage material, basically, because at the end of the damn day, your urge is the one that made that decision. Your mind is not the one that made that decision at the end of the day. Your dick made that decision for you. And if your dick keeps on making decisions for you, you're going to self-sabotage yourself at the end of the day. But the irony to it is when it comes to women have self-sabotaged yourself with this whole entire feminism thing. Do you really need to point it out anymore? I mean, think about it. Single mother households, they hold most of the people in jail. They got most of the mental health patients. They got most of the runaways. They got most of the suicidal children, offspring. They got most of the fucking, they own most of the fucking drug and alcohol people. They teen pregnancies. You name it. The list goes on, man. The list goes fucking on and on and on when it comes down to it at the end of the damn day. Because at the end of the day, what we see, what we know, and what we hear, and all the statistics basically never lie. It don't matter about none of this feeling shit, because at the end of the day, there's not enough emotional intelligence in this world that could get you to make a proper decision at the end of the day. Emotional intelligence will make you make stupid-ass decisions. Emotional intelligence would actually have you making decisions based on emotion. And you can't make a decision based on emotion at the end of the day. You got to make a sound decision. You got to make a logical, sound decision at the end of the day. It'd be like, case in point, there's 2 people drowning. You got an elderly man who has 10% lung capacity in his lungs, basically. And you got a young boy who has about, the same amount of oxygen in his lung capacity, basically 10%. You see them both falling. You can only save one. Who are you actually going to save? Logically, it'd probably be better to save the young boy. He had a whole life ahead of him, things like that, and he could probably do something in the world, sadly, because he still has more life to live. The old man, the most you could probably get out of the old man is some knowledge. But at the end of the day, at 10% oxygen, he might have destroyed a lot of brain cells from the lack of oxygen going to his brain at the end of the damn day. So 9 times out of 10, you'll probably save the boy, because the boy hasn't fully developed yet. So brain cell loss probably wouldn't be as bad in the young boy as it would be for the old man, because his brain's still developing. Things are still developing in that young boy to the point where, like, you're not going to have to worry about much of a stunted growth or much of a loss, basically, at the end of the day. It's kind of like that decision that you would make. Now, I know people that be trying to be like, fucking super alpha or super G, like, I'll save them both. Like, no, you can't save them both. You can only save one. You can only save one at the end of the damn day. Because at the end of the damn day, you're running out of oxygen too. Which is something that you have to think of as an adult, basically, your damn self. You're all running out of oxygen, basically, at the end of the damn day. No matter how you look at it. So obviously you would save the young boy because he has a lot ahead of him. Now if we change the stipulations on that, it could change, basically. You might save the old man over the young boy. Or you might, do, things differently depending on what the situation is, based on how you assess the situation at the end of the day. But assessing a situation takes logic to assess it properly. Without logic, you'll make an emotional decision, and you'll probably make the wrong decision. With logic, you'll make the proper decision, and you'll never have to second guess yourself at the end of the damn day when it comes down to that. So don't buy into this whole entire emotional intelligence, because emotional intelligence will get you hemmed up, jammed up, and fucked up at the end of the day. That's typically how emotional intelligence works. That is not for you to actually make a decision with. There's no such thing as emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence was basically created so people can feel good about the dumb shit that they do and the stupid decisions that they make. Or so they could justify making stupid decisions on a regular basis or doing dumb shit based on emotion. Well, I felt as though this, that, and the other. Well, at the end of the damn day, when it comes down to it, when you actually work in the ER, you don't feel shit. You basically make a decision based on a logical standpoint on who's getting seen first, who's getting seen second, and who's getting seen last. That's why they call it triage. Triage is not about emotion. It's about a logical decision on how you deal with patients based on worst to great, basically. From the worst patient in the worst situation to the best patient in the best situation, basically. That's why you basically learn triage, how to triage patients, which one's more important than the other patient, and you basically rank them based on that, though. And if they don't got anything going on, then you don't obviously put somebody who has a less risk of actually passing out or dying in an ER than a person who has more. That'd be like saying, I'm a woman and I feel as though that I should take this child who has a little sniffle over the guy with a gunshot wound. Does that sound logical to you? The guy died from a gunshot wound might be dying from a gunshot wound. It could be your mom, it could be your dad, it could be a cop that was basically, doing the right thing and took a bullet for, I don't know, a citizen, basically. You know what I mean? So at the end of the damn day, making decisions based on emotion is the dumbest idea you can possibly make. Because like I said, you're not going to take the kid with the sniffles over a person with a gunshot wound, or over a patient with diabetes, or over a patient that was in a car accident, basically, at the end of the damn day. That's typically how this shit works. The world is built on logic, not emotional intelligence. The world's always been built on logic, not emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence isn't good for this world. I mean, it's good in certain things, but it's really not good for this world. The sad part about that is what emotional intelligence do is, think of it like a scary movie. The logical explanation to end the damn scary movie be, fuck it, get the fuck out of there. Emotional intelligence will have you looking around the corner, checking down all the hallways, looking in fucking cabinets and shit like that. Like, hello? You know those scary movies where they're down the hallway saying hello, and then they get stabbed up through a wall or through a door and shit like that, or, you know, they get ran through and through. That's just dumb. That's just emotional intelligence right there for you. The neat thing I was talking about in another video about emotional intelligence, when it comes to men, when it comes to emotional men, is a lot of the times when it comes to emotional men, these are typically the men that are always the ones putting hands on people, or women, or the ones that are, you know, the emotional thugs, like I was saying, who gets into fights for no damn reason because their feelings got hurt or their shoes got stepped on. Those are basically emotional men. Any man that gets emotional enough to want to get into a fist fight over his own emotions, or get into a fist fight over his shoes being stepped on, or anything like that, and they think straight to fight, or any man that, you know, I mean, don't get me wrong, some people deserve it. Don't get it twisted. Some people deserve to have their hands put on them, but at the end of the damn day, if that's your first response, that's all raw emotion. At the end of the damn day, you're as a man, you should never be at the point where you're putting somebody a woman in traction, or a child in traction, or anything like that at the end of the damn day, because that's not for you. That's not what you do. And the sad part about that is, we talk about this, but the sad part about it is, you actually look at crimes and statistics against children, that's something that women do. That market is owned by women. When it comes to crimes and statistics against children, that is a female-led market when it comes to crimes. Those are typically the people who are going to do stupid shit to children at the end of the damn day. And it shouldn't even be like that, but it happens quite often. The sad part about that is, when you look at the actual rape statistic for women, when they say the 1 in 3 or 1 in 4 women are raped, what they actually leave out at the end of the damn day is they're counting other women that actually did shit to them, basically. Now, we all talk about this in a red pill, like that's impossible, you know, shit like that. But think about all the dumb shit that you've seen women do to other women. Kiss other women, you know, cross the line with other women, grope other women. And the sad part about that is, this is how they get their 1 in 4 or 1 in 3 number that they magically come up with. Other women groping them, but they don't want to say that out loud. Let that shit sink in for a second. Let that shit swirl around in your head for a minute. That 1 in 4 and that 1 in 3 number that these feminists always cite, are nothing more than other women groping them or doing this shit, basically. It's not men doing the shit, it's other women. That's how they get their 1 in 3 or 1 in 4. Like, we know that that's a bogus number off the top at the end of the day. Because if you look at it from a standpoint, there's no way in hell that a man is raping a woman 1 in 3 times or 1 in 4 times at the end of the damn day. Now, that number gets very close to that if you add, like, a lot of women doing a lot of this shit that you've seen on Girls Going Wild, some of the parties that you've been to, a lot of the clubs that you've been to, shit like that. then that number actually becomes that number at the end of the day. But the sad part about that is it's not men. It's predominantly women. But when you want a number to stick, you want a number to count, you got to pad it, but you can't bring up the fact that it was other women that did it to you. And you keep it vague by saying 1 in 4, 1 in 4 women are, this basically. Even though it's not just men, it's predominantly women that actually bring it down to that damn number. Sad how that works, right? But hey, believe all women, which is an actual emotional response to that type of shit. And it's self-sabotage at the end of the day, because it's kind of like the story that we used to hear growing up. The boy that cried wolf, that's women nowadays. And now they're self-sabotaging themselves at an alarming rate, and nobody wants to take it in consideration, and nobody wants to take them on. Nobody wants to really believe them at the end of the day. Because when you self-sabotage yourself one too many times, eventually nobody's going to believe you. And everybody's going to let you suffer. So when a real big bad wolf shows up, and you get ripped to shreds, you're on your fucking own. Nobody wants to help you. Hell, I'm starting to see that shit now with a lot of the men. When women are getting attacked on the trains now, men are just getting up and walking to the back and just saying, fuck it, I'm out. That's that big bad wolf coming for that ass. After you accuse a bunch of men for doing nothing, basically, accusing them of doing all this shit to you at the end of the day. That's that big bad wolf that you got to worry about. As I say it, that 15% of human beings that do sick valve things to all human beings or living things at the end of the day. Sad part about that is that 15% is now at about 20% of human beings will do sick valve things to human beings, other human beings at the end of the day. And the sad part about that, that's not just men. That includes women. That's not just people of one race. That includes people of all races. There's about 15 to 20% of human beings that'll do sick valve things to any living thing or any human being. It's the nature of the beast. And the sad part about that is those people were created by single mothers. Large chunk, if not all of them, are raised by single mothers. Let that shit sink in. All these emotional thugs running around here, acting all tough, single mothers. Men who put their hands on women, single mothers. Or they was raised by a mom that pretty much whose emotions pretty much dominated the whole damn house. It's the nature of the beast. But self-sabotage is a bitch. Now women have so much power, they're self-sabotaging the whole fucking society of the Western world. It's only a matter of time before my stock in popcorn goes up, so I can make money on the popcorn while I'm sitting there watching the bullshit, eating my popcorn. But again, this is Internal Sadist. This has been another Slippery Slope. Y'all guys be blessed and have a good one. Be good to yourselves. Treat yourselves like milk. Do not but spoil yourselves. And always be a better version of yourself. And never stop improving upon yourself and making yourself a better person at the end of the day. I don't give a damn if you're an Apache helicopter, a woman, a man, a transgender, or whatever the fuck you want to call yourself. Just improve upon yourself and make yourself a better version of yourself. This is Internal Sadist. And catch you on the next Slippery Slope. I'm out.
Do diamonds on me, go flash, this ain't slang chain. Do diamonds on me, go flash, this ain't slang chain. Got my baby mama, they